Today for COVID-19 Worldview, we're talking to Monica Musyoni, who is a disaster management professional out of Kenya. Monica, how are you?
Fine, thank you, Lawton. How are you?
I'm good, I'm good. I know it's been raining a lot over there, but it's raining here today too, in Chicago.
Yes, it has been raining like crazy, but let's hope it subsides. But if it doesn't, I think we'll just have to manage.
Yeah. So we haven't really heard much about Kenya. How are things out on your side?
So far, in terms of COVID, we have about 649 cases, 207 recoveries, and around 30 deaths. But we think the number might be increasing based on the fact that now there's mass testing that is going on. And we think with the mass testing, the numbers might be going higher.
Yeah, I think mass testing can obviously help, which is the way how it has to go in order for us to really see what's going on. So what are some of the measures that they've put in? Are you guys doing social distancing, or what are some of the measures they've put in Kenya?
Yeah, we are doing social distancing. If you go to supermarkets right now, you will notice that they have placed 1.5 meters along the queues so that people will know where to stand and not be too close to each other. We are also having something working from home, so those people who don't have to go to offices can still work from home. And those who have to go to offices, then we have the working in shifts, so we can work in different shifts. Yeah, there's also a lot of public awareness that is happening in TVs and radio stations. Every show, after a show, they introduce something to do with COVID, how people can prevent themselves by washing their hands, by using a lot of sanitizers, by drinking a lot of water. All this is now being put in place, and people are being educated about it. There's also something on putting on of masks when you're in public places, so that at least you do not infect someone else or get infected as well, because we don't know who has it. So the government is really advocating for the fact that you never know who has it. So protect yourself when you're going to the salons, when you're going to get your groceries, when you're doing you have to go to work. Anything that you do, just be cautious so that you can prevent being infected and also avoid infecting others.
So yeah, that's the same thing that's happening in Cameroon and Liberia, pretty much everywhere. I like the shifts. What kind of businesses do you know that they're doing with the shifts where they staggered the...
Personally, I'm still going to work, but then we have now introduced shifts in my workplace. So 1 week shifts or 2 week shifts. So for those, at least 2 week shifts works best, because if you're infected, then the disease takes the 2 weeks incubation periods. Period is the disease will come out before or after the 2 weeks period. So they are trying as much as possible to make sure that there's 2 weeks shift. So for people who are working in the security area, security field, trainers like us, for people who work in the training institutions, and essential services, I think some of them have also introduced shifts. So it depends where someone is. Hotel industry, I think they have also introduced shifts, because now the hotels in Kenya are open. Some of them have opened up, but because they don't want to congest most of the hotels, they are introducing shifts. I think even supermarkets, so that they do not so many people are there, they can distance themselves to prevent the accumulation of people in one place. So I think in several places it is working well.
That's great, actually. That's really good to hear. Some places are a bit chaotic. I'm sure you've seen.
Yes,
yes. You've seen the US.
Yeah.
Before we go to your, how you guys are coping, what do you guys see? Like, what do you see it's happening here? I'm just what's your view of what's happening here?
Okay. It's I think in some things are working, some are crazy. There's some things that President Trump says, and you're like, oh my.
Yeah,
things like you guys, I think, are doing a lot of mass testing, which also helps because despite the numbers increasing, as in you can only know the state of your country if you have the correct numbers. So the fact that you have the facilities and the infrastructure to conduct mass testing, I think it helps in countries like US and like us, where we've not gotten to that level of testing. Yeah.
Yeah, the thing is, I mean, testing, it is a, what do they say, like catch-22, because
Yes.
if you test more people, you know, more people are infected. If you test less, it seems like the numbers are skewed. So I don't think people should care much about the numbers. So Monica, how are you and your family coping? What are some of the things that you're doing? A friend of mine is cooking. Some are just you know, taking more time to do self-care. Like, what are you doing to cope throughout this time?
I think this is the time that I've cooked. I can't remember the last time I cooked the way I've cooked this time. Because you can't get food from the supermarket, from the hotels anymore the way you used to get them. So you feel like it's safer that you are cooking at home and you have more time to spend doing it than before. So I think it has its advantages and disadvantages. Advantages in terms of us spending time together as a family, and disadvantages in terms of you're not as free as you used to be previously. Yeah.
That's so true. We're same thing here. It's like you know, we're just restricted, right? We're a bit more restricted. We're finding things to do in the home. My mom and I play Scrabble.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, she beats me a lot.
Oh.
But last night I beat her, so I was really happy, but I kind of felt bad.
Yeah.
So Monica, what do you guys do? Like in the country, a lot of our celebrities are putting on these things they call battles, or like where a big artist goes against a big artist, but it's mostly musicians. Is there any entertainers or people that are taking over and doing some really great things for the country to kind of unite people? Or
but I know the president has made sure that we have they are paying musicians as a way of just to motivate them, the people who are in the entertainment industry during this time. So they are making sure that they are paying them something so that they can continue educating the public and also just creating awareness the way they know how to, you know, through music, through making sure that it's also people driven than security driven, you know, because if the people join in the fight, then it's easy for the country to control. Other than the security personnel pushing it from that angle, then the people forget the importance of preventing themselves against COVID. So in one way or another, I think the country, through the entertainers, have tried their level best to make sure that the musicians, the celebrities are contributing in the war to fight against COVID. Yeah.
That's an excellent point, having the security, the government, you know, push it, but also having the people involved. I think that really shifts how the country responds. So that's really good. I mean, you're going back to work, you know, in the shifts, but how do you feel? Like, do you feel safe? Do you believe, you know, do you feel safe going back to work as you go into the streets?
Because of working in shifts, the office is not as congested. So at least you are able to protect yourself the way you know how to. And for some of it's if you're driving yourself to work, it's easier. But if you have to use public transport, then you are a bit scared because you don't know if you have exposed yourself by touching the metal, the seats, the whatever. But for someone who is using their own car, I think it's a bit easier. But those also who are using public transport, they have also ensured that they have sanitizers that they are bringing before you enter we call them matatus. For us, the public transport, we call them matatus, the buses and all that. So they make sure that they have hand sanitizers and also their hand washing stations in public areas. Things that the government has done that seem to be working, even though I think because of the extent, we did not think that this virus is going to take this long to subside. People at times get bored with all these restrictions, curfews, all these are things that have been put to help us, but to some extent, they seem to be getting boring because we are human. We understand that Africa is not, some countries in Africa are not as advanced as those in the West. So Kenya, we were not fast to do lockdowns. We have been doing it, we've been taking small steps to just make sure that we are not locking everyone in, forgetting that there are some people who survive from daily, the work they do daily. So we need to make sure that we also sort them out or care for them so that they don't go to the extreme of missing food and all that. So there are some steps that the government put in place to make sure that we have not done a total lockdown in the country, but there are some things that continue to work so that people can also survive in their daily activities. There are some places like Nairobi, Mombasa, where the virus seems to have spread a lot. The government has banned movement from from counties like Nairobi. Yes, and Mombasa and all that. So the restriction of movement from one place to another to avoid the virus spreading to the other counties has also worked. Not perfectly, but it seems to have worked. There's also counties in Kenya that have used the stadium to change it and let it be like the hospital where they can isolate the people who have COVID, and they are sorted from a stadium. So they have like put makeshift hospital or facilities in a stadium, so that because the hospitals don't have the space to accommodate everyone. But there's a stadium is big enough to accommodate thousands of people. And I think what Corona has made us know is we also have strength within that we've not been utilizing as a country or a people. Yeah.
That's great. I was telling Faith, from Liberia, that maybe this is an opportunity for each country to kind of, find ways to deal with things internally, and
exactly.
recognize the strengths of some people like in Kenya that were not recognized before. So that's a great point.
Yeah. There are also counties, like the governors of certain states have decided that marketplaces, the normal marketplaces, seem to be too congested for people to work. So they have taken the markets as in the stadiums. So instead of people congesting themselves in markets, they now go to stadiums, where it's spacious enough for people to do their shopping well and all that. It has also taught us the importance of the strength, as I say, the strength within. So farmers, some of the farmers are really, I think some of them are really benefiting from this. Because people have to eat. Because people have to eat, they have to supply their food. And because they have to supply their food, then they are the ones who are gaining when it comes to benefiting as a country and as a people, because now the trade is within, we have learned to appreciate the different strengths of different people. Yeah.
That is great. Thank you so much, Monica. It's so good to see you. You know,
So
Kenya has always
good
been really, it's been structured. So
Yeah.
I don't think we were as worried, you know, about Kenya as maybe some of the countries in the West of Africa, west of Africa. But it's good to hear things are as structured as we, you know, at least me, I anticipated. So that's very
great.
Good to hear.
Yeah, Lawson, thank you for, you're doing a great job. If everyone watches what each and every country is doing just based on your program, I think it will really motivate us as different countries and different people from different places in the world, because it is through these that we are able to know the strengths of different countries and what other people are doing as well. It might not be working perfectly in your country, but if it is working at some degree, then it means that it's something that we can think about and work with. Yeah, so thank you so much for bringing such a program and making sure that everyone in the world sees the strengths that different countries are putting in making sure that they are fighting COVID in different ways.
Thank you, Monica. Thank you so much. Have a good rest of the day and go.
You too.